Cock! Yes! His noodle! Alan Wake 2. Coming to a theater near you.
Coming soon on video and DVD.
Now show Alan's gigantic cock.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a first impressions look at Alan Wake 2. Today, we're going to be talking about key features of the game, my personal experience so far, thoughts, some issues, but mostly just an overall take on how the game feels so far. Without further ado, let's jump into it. So first off, let's talk about the map. I was absolutely shocked at my first sight of seeing just how big the actual map was. So far, it's giving me the hope that this game is a lot less linear than the first one. I also will note that the linear part of the first game is not a weakness whatsoever. I think the game definitely made it work. And this one, I have had some backtracking already, but again, it feels a little bit more open, like I have a bit more freedom to explore and look for collectibles among other supplies or run into enemies a little bit more often, and this gives a constant looming danger of enemies spawning on you randomly, as opposed to in Alan Wake 1, where most spawns typically were pretty predictable. The newest system that's been introduced into Alan Wake 2 is something called the Mine Place. Now, this is used by Saga and Alan, and I always find myself constantly going back to it every so often to either check my bearings or see what stuff I've already found, help remind me of my current objective, or just look at collectibles. And most commonly using the case board, which is what Saga and Alan used to find out the next objective after placing clues in the right spot. Next up, collectibles. I love collectibles. I grew up on Donkey Kong 64, among other games just of the like Banjo-Kazooie, and I love looking for collectibles. I can't stress it enough. And Alan Wake 2 so far has had 3 different kind of collectibles for me to already look out for. Number 1, lunchboxes. There are Alex Casey lunchboxes spread out across the map, all in different locations, and you can usually find them by looking for rainbow ribbons or rainbow painted rocks. Inside the lunchboxes, you will find manuscript scraps, and these can be used to upgrade your weapons inside the mine place. So far, I've only got the pistol and the shotgun, but each has 3 different upgrades for it, so I assume each weapon in the game will probably follow suit. And if you're someone that does love lore, there are extra little pages inserted into each lunchbox as well, be it little poems or just little story hints, and I personally really enjoy these because it almost felt like a little fortune cookie. Next up for collectibles, the Cultist Stash. Now, the Cultist Stash is not as exciting rewards per se, but very helpful for you on your journey. If you manage to find a Cultist box, you'll be met with a puzzle of some kind to open it up. And if you can manage to solve the puzzle, you'll be rewarded with health, ammo, anything that you can really think of supply-wise, and those will likely be in there. So while it may not have unique rewards, it does have helpful supplies that'll keep you stocked up throughout the game. And just like the Alex Casey lunchboxes, it does also contain a unique small message written by the cultists themselves. So if having extra supplies isn't the exciting thing for you, possibly collecting more, collectibles might just be your thing instead. And the final collectible type that we're looking at is the nursery rhyme puzzles. And now these are a little bit of a different situation. They have a very cutesy look to them, but they have a poem on them. When you read through the poem, you have to maybe collect dolls, and you place dolls on the corresponding symbols to match and almost recreate a story. And if you can manage to do that, you'll be rewarded with charms. And each charm can give you a unique bonus, such as extra health or even extra stagger on enemies, even granting an extra life. But those, of course, are the only ones that I've found so far. I imagine there's even more with hopefully just as cool abilities. Now, one interesting thing I've also noticed while playing Alan Wake 2 so far is their change, I would say, in the right direction towards making the game more survival horror. It's very, very reminiscent of our newest Resident Evil games, you know, like the RE2 remake, RE4, anything like that. I love it. And yes, some people may sit there and say, I hate having to go and find fuses for the fuse boxes and so to speak, but you know what? That is what classic survival horror is about. And the fact that Alan Wake is also doing it, I'm into it. I'm also really glad to see that they've stuck with the same sort of save format. You know, like you can save inside of light sources. In this case, it's more of a thermos, but you at least have safe points that are still streetlights. And the coffee thermos save almost feels exactly like a Resident Evil typewriter save, except the only difference is you don't have to have a, you know, limited supply of ink ribbons. And then we have the combat. And let me tell you, it is classic Alan Wake at its finest. I am so happy that they didn't alter things to the point that it was just unrecognizable. It is the same core Alan Wake game you've come to love. You got your flashlight and you got your gun. You break the shadow and you shoot the sucker dead. That is classic Alan Wake at its finest right there. And one of the newest key features that I noticed during combat was crit points. Now, you may notice through some of the clips playing that there's little red spots on the enemies. Yeah, those are their crit spots. If you can manage to shoot and land a shot on one of those, oh yeah, there's a lot of extra blood coming off those boys. There's also still boss enemies in the game who are still just as brutal as they were in the last game. And oh my god, let me tell you, you're gonna see from the clips playing right now, the first boss and the only boss that I've played against so far, he was brutal. So yes, little spoilers on the screen there for you, but there is going to be a spoiler warning already up there. But oh my god, this man was Tracer, just dashing away at me, constantly grabbing me. I actually died on my first attempt on him, but thankfully I did manage to survive just barely. But main impression that I got out of this, it's great. The design of the boss already, he was fantastic. Fighting him felt tense the whole way through. It's what a boss fight in any sort of survival horror should feel like. And last but not least, before we get to our final thoughts, the bad. Now, my only issues, thankfully, this is a lot shorter, and that's why I want to save it till the end of the video. The long loading times. There's long loading times between chapter points or just, you know, loading into the game in general. There's also points that I've noticed where people and objects just were not rendering within, you know, real time. Like, there was sometimes even characters on the map that were taking minutes to properly load in, and, you know, it kind of, you know, it wasn't looking great. Hopefully, though, things will finish. I don't imagine it has anything to do with graphics. At least I would hope not. I have beyond what their recommended settings are, so let's hope that's the case. But my last issue is audio desync. And thankfully, the audio desync is only in cutscenes. But see, this also comes as a problem, because cutscenes 95% of the time, there's like a 5% they're working okay, but the other 95% of the time, you just don't really know what's going on. Like you can, if you have your subtitles on, you can read it properly and you can kind of understand what's going on. Audio sometimes completely cuts and you can't hear anything, or audio's already, you know, 15-20 seconds behind.
Feels like the killer's leaving us a message.
You know, it's almost like watching, you know, like a badly dubbed Japanese movie, you know, from the 70s. It's just 70s, 80s. It's just bad.
Today is fine day in California. Huh? Choose.
It's really bad, and for some people it may take away from their whole experience from the game, but I can deal with it. The gameplay is still good as a whole, and, you know, long story short, it's bad, but it's definitely fixable. And hopefully within a week of me putting up this video, they might actually have a fix for it. To sum everything up though, Alan Wake 2, it's been worth the wait. It has been a long 13 years for a lot of folks who played back in 2010. But other than the last issues that were just discussed in my last point, the game's been great so far. I'm 6.5 hours in, I am loving it. I am not letting those issues stop me from playing. I'm gonna keep on playing, and I'm gonna keep enjoying it. And I hope for anyone that's been watching, you're a bit more informed. You kind of got like, hey, I want to grab that game too. And hell, I'll tell you right now, even if you have not played the first game, I will highly recommend you do. But if you do really, really want to play Alan Wake 2, definitely go for it. It is 100% worth your time. If the audio issues that were shown in this video or the rendering shown was something that would probably destroy your personal experience with it that you believe, then I would definitely suggest holding off and waiting a bit to hopefully see if those, get fixed. But as an overall, I still highly recommend it right as of right now from just the short time that I've had it for sure. As always, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the Twitch channel. And, look forward to more review or first impression content, because I've been loving making it. So it's definitely going to be something I'm going to keep trying to, put out more of. Yeah, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are on the video, on the game itself, whether I influenced your choice to get it or not. Anything of the sort, even if I just put a smile on your face. That's always really appreciated too. Take care, have yourselves a great one. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you all in the next one.
That's why at Coscola Brothers Adventure Tours we say, fuck the government. We have bolt cutters.